Okay, let's go ahead and look at this problem. As I look around the room at all the boards, everyone did do this correctly. And we had a discussion about the importance of significant figures and where you round. This doesn't work out quite right with the sig figs, but if we make this number from the chart 80.2, 80.20, then we're allowed to go out and keep one sig fig. If I truncated here with sig figs, I would have no temperature change and I'd get no information from this. So my temperature change is 0.03 degrees Celsius. It only gives me one sig fig. I know delta T is K sub B times the molality. So the change in temperature divided by Kb is 0.01 molal with only one sig fig. That means 0.01 moles per 1,000 grams. I have 100 grams. I have 0.001 moles. So when I divide and can only keep one sig fig, I get a molar mass of 600 grams per mole. Now, you can see that if I kept more than one sig fig, I'd have 640 grams per mole. So, about my 640 grams per mole, the molar mass divided by the empirical mass, 64 grams per empirical formula unit, gives me 10. So I get C50H40. And what we saw up here and had a discussion about is someone rounded to 600 and divides by 64, you get 9. So this is one of those areas where it does make a difference in your answer if you round once at the end or if you round along the way. Now, on a quiz or test, if you rounded as you went and ended up with 9, I would not mark that incorrect for you. But the actual answer is then 10 times the empirical formula, C50H40. So I'm more interested in the process being learned than what the actual answer is. Of course, on a test, I do look at the answer to see if you work through the process correctly. So we have a couple of definitions to run through, and then before we start the math on the next section, we'll go ahead and take a break. So the next thing that we're going to look at after the break is the process of osmosis. And we have a couple of vocabulary words that we need to be familiar with. Now, for those of you that have been in my 111s, you know we don't have vocabulary words on the test. There's no define this or matching vocabulary, anything like that. However, if you do not know the vocabulary, you will not be able to read and understand the questions that are being asked. So we define a couple of things here. Permeability means that the solute can go through a membrane. If it is permeable, the solute goes through what is dissolved. If it's semi-permeable, some kinds of solutes go through and some don't. We then talk about dialysis, and most students nowadays are familiar with this because you know of kidney dialysis as a medical procedure. You hear about that in everyday life. That's where the solvent and the solute molecules go through the membrane, but only the small ones. And then osmosis is the thing that we're going to talk about. And in osmosis, only the solvent particles go through. So the solute does not go through. So that's the vocabulary. I'm going to stop here. We'll take a break, and then we'll pick up with osmosis and go through and do some problems with some more colligative property problems.